funny. We were all on this bus talking about Thanksgiving. Drew, she's like, you should fry fish.
And what does that mean to you? I'm sorry.
She's making the...
She's bringing it back.
She's
Okay,
bringing
but
it
I
back.
never knew that. You're overthinking.
I might be overthinking.
Because you're on a mission to find it to be true.
Our laser...
K. Turns out there was never a scheme and a plot. It was the voices in your head. Anyway, round 3 came with more reads, more dragon, and more shade. And Angela got her lick back. Hey guys, welcome to my channel where I do weekly recaps of the Real Housewives franchise. That's right, I recap every city, every episode, every week. Today I'm here to recap Real Housewives of Atlanta Season 17 Reunion Part 3. Before I do so, if you happen to like my content, hit the like and subscribe buttons. Join the conversation down in the comments below, and make sure that you hit that notification bell so when I drop a new video, you'll get an alert from YouTube. Alright guys, let's get into it. So we start Part 3 off with K. Michelle talking about the scheme and the plot of it all. So Andy is asking her, like, what's the scheme and the plot you talking about? So she's saying that somebody asked her if she knew Black, and then it was told to her that it was going to basically be trying to put her, say her and Drew was messing with the same dude and put her in that. And Drew was saying, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I didn't know nothing of that. I never tried to put you in that same category as him. So Kay was like, you was making it seem like I knew him, and Drew was reiterating, yeah, because when we came to the dinner party and I showed you him on a FaceTime, you seemed familiar, like you knew him, so I figured y'all knew each other. And Andy said, Kay, it did look like y'all knew each other. So she's explaining that prior to that, so he came to something she was doing, a show. It was something she was working on and they did together. And she pretty much reached out to him to thank him for coming and supporting, but they had DM'd before, so that's how she knew who he was. So she wanted to acknowledge that. So Drew was like, I would never want to do that, because first of all, you're a married woman, so why would I do that? And Kate was like, that's why I felt a way about it. But now looking back at it, Drew was telling her, like, you shouldn't listen to that person that you was listening to or whatever, because she never said that to nobody. And Kay acknowledges that, yeah, maybe she jumped the gun on that one. Now we get into the whole oyster situation and how she's claiming how someone told her they was going to try to bring that up and use that against her and throw that in her face. The ladies are claiming that that's not what they were doing with the oyster situation. And like I said, it's a 50-50 chance that they could have been, based on, it just did seem weird to make that kind of, analogy while I was eating. So she does acknowledge that maybe she did jump the gun. She was probably nervous because she thought that she wanted to jump ahead of it and get ahead of it because she felt like they was going to bring it up. Someone told her they was going to bring it up. She's still not saying who this someone is. It's someone who knows all of them. Someone that's not a part of the show, but who knows all the girls. There's no one from makeup or hair or anything like that, or wardrobe. So now she's saying how they was talking on the bus and they was talking about Thanksgiving, and Drew told her how she should fry some fish. And Drew was like, so what did that mean to you? What you thought I meant by that? And she thought that Drew was trying to be funny by saying you should fry some fish. So it did seem kind of like, I don't know. At this point, it's a 50-50 chance or whatever, okay? It's a hit or miss. So she just saying how pretty much, so they're trying to allude to who's singing this and who's putting this in her ear, and Drew is saying that I think it's the person who's suing Black, and she's saying, yeah, that it may be that person, but that's the person who said the thing about Black, not the oysters. Somebody else said the thing about the oysters or whatever. So she's not really saying who said that about the oysters, but she does acknowledge that she thought they were going to try to use it against her, so she wanted to try to get ahead of it so that when they bring it up, she wouldn't get caught off guard. And she should have just sat back and let it just play out and see what happened and dealt with it in real time. Angela tells her, you're not crazy, sis. I can relate to you because, in my first season, I went through the same thing. I had to put it all out there. And when Phaedra came with what she came with, I was doing the most to try to like figure it out, and I realized I was doing too much, so don't feel bad. So Andy asked Kay like where her and Portia stand now. And she said, you know, me and Portia respect each other. I don't have nothing against her. Portia is just like, you know, I just think it's sad that other events came in between us getting to know each other or whatever, because I really wanted you to come here and have a good time. I was a fan of yours before, you know. So now Kay says, Andy asked Kay what's up with her and Drew. How's, you know, where do they stand? Kay said, out of all these people in this group, Drew is somebody that just knows how to get under my skin. I'm not gonna lie. It's like she gets to me, and a part of me likes it. So, but Kay does tell her that she wants the best for her. She wants her to come up from under whatever she got going on with her family and her divorce and the kid situation, and to see her thriving and, you know, happy again. And Drew says, thank you, I appreciate that, and I want to see you navigate in this friendship circles, you know, successfully. I want to see you thriving. And then we get some questions from the viewers. First, we get one from Meredith from Mesa, Arizona. Kelly, do you ever feel like you're a rebound BFF because Portia and Shamia are no longer BFFs? Kelly says no. You know, what we have is real. She's somebody I could call on at any time, and she's always going to be there for me. And, you know, this is a real friendship. The next question comes from Jolene from Maine. Her question is also for Kelly. Kelly, if you think Frick and Frack are whack, why did you ask Phaedra, aka Frack, to help you fight your ex-husband in court? So Kelly is like, I didn't ask her. She offered my help. So Andy is like, so why'd you take it? She was like, you know, at the end of the day, I don't want people to get it twisted. I gave her team $10,000. So Phaedra was like, you know, the billable hours was well over 60,000. And Kelly was like, look, I gave her 10,000. It was like, that was a discount. She was like, it don't matter. Like, she didn't do much. I had a lawyer before her who did a lot of work. And Phaedra, so they like, why are you trying to belittle what Phaedra doing? She's like, I'm not trying to say that. What I'm saying is all of the like groundwork was done already. What Phaedra had to do wasn't much. I already paid over $25,000. I forgot how much she said to another lawyer. Next, we get a question from Stephanie from Patterson, New Jersey, and she wants to know from Shamia, what's up with Rum Bum? Shamia says, unfortunately, it fell through. The owner, it's like his baby, and he's holding her close, and he ain't trying to give it up. So Andy asks Kelly about her second store closing, and she's like, you know, that's my third store, but unfortunately, I had to close two. It wasn't successful, so yeah, it hurt, but you know, I had to do what I had to do and learn from that. So now we get a comment from Katrina from Long Beach, California, actually a question. The question is for Drew. Drew, why did you make a social media video highlighting Kelly's restaurant closure? And Kelly was like, because she's a loser. And Drew was still playing dumb or whatever. Mind you, Cynthia used to support the restaurant that closed, so Cynthia was like, yeah, that hurt for me too. And Kelly was like, mind you, Drew lived all the way in Duluth or whatever. Talk about she going to get some waffles for her kids when she didn't even have her kids. Drew was like, yes, I did have my kids. You said you don't want to talk about kids, so let's not go there. So now they're going back and forth, and I don't know how Angela got into it because Kelly started saying something to everybody. So Angela was like, what is your problem with me? And Kelly was like, I feel like you run around like a little guard dog or some pit bull. I forgot what she said to her. And baby, Angela started to unleash on her with reads. She like...
What's your issue with me?
What is the issue?
The issue is you're being everybody's golden retriever, and I've had
And you have new teeth and nowhere to sleep. You broke bitch.
Who's a broke bitch?
You.
Okay.
You.
I was like, oh, not new teeth and nowhere to sleep, broke bitch. No way. So then she said, Angela was saying something about you. Kelly was saying, oh, you been hanging around Drew too long because you lying. Angela was like, baby, I stand on my own in these size 12s. Kelly was like, your little 2-inch heels? And Angela was like, no, 2 inches. No, that's your money, 2 inches.
Okay.
Girl, you been hanging with Drew so bad now.
No, baby, I stand on these 12s by myself.
You standing on them 2 inches. That's all you doing is
That's
standing
your
on
money.
them 2
That's
inches.
2 inches.
That's all you doing is 2
Not
inches.
my heels,
Are you
Angela, you got your lick back. Thank you for giving us the best reads of part 3 of the reunion. So now they're going back and forth still. So then Andy asked Kelly about the new home or whatever. And Kelly did find a new home. She did find a new home. She said what happened was that she had her lease was over and she had to move and her home wasn't done yet. It was almost ready. So it was like a 2-week lapse. So she had to basically stay at Shamia's house while until our house was ready. And Shamia said she didn't even want to do it. I had to force it. Like, basically, I had to force it on her. She didn't want to do it. I had to be like, no, girl, you're staying here. So now we get a question from Donnie from Houston, Texas. Kelly, why would you let Jarvis pay $70,000 for tea? And she's like, because he wanted to. It wasn't my money. So Andy was like, you don't think you could have been like, hey, let me work a discount and pay $30K and, use the $40K towards mine. And she was like, how you know if he ain't do that? Girl, he didn't, because you would have said it. So now they addressed the confessional with the white T-shirt, and she's still standing by it, saying, yes, my T-shirt was fab. And they like, girl, no, it wasn't. Like... And she's like, nobody else, they mad because they can't wear a T-shirt and heels. And they was like, girl, you wasn't wearing it either, or whatever. So Andy was like, oh, also Zendaya had the same T-shirt on recently too. And she's like, see, there you go. And so here go Angela with not only the best shade, but the funniest part. She was like, yeah, but her sleeves, so Steve, you need to steam your sleeves. Her sleeves was a wrinkle.
By the way, apparently Zendaya just wore that shirt.
Yes.
She did, and she looked great.
Hers was steamed, though. Steam the sleeve. You're so on trend. You're a fashion girl.
I know, I'm trending. I love it.
Not steam the sleeves. Thank you, Angela, for also giving us the best shade and the funniest part of Reunion Part 3. Okay? Angela is, baby, she's coming back. She's like, you got me a Part 2, Kelly, but I'm coming back to finish you. So now we get a question from TT from Southern California. Shamia and Kelly, the cleanliness of the room out of Cynthia's control. Why make such a huge deal and go as far as to not go to dinner to prove your point? They said they didn't go to dinner because they couldn't even take a shower. They were still in their airport clothes, and everybody else was glammed up and changed their clothes and had the chance to take a shower. But they would say like, but y'all still recorded by the pool. Y'all was still on camera. Y'all still recorded, and y'all ended up coming to the dinner table anyway. So yeah, I didn't get that anyway either. So now we get a question. The question, Shamia's question coming. We get a question from Shamia Moore and Mwangi. Cynthia, at what point did you decide you didn't like Shamia? Cynthia said, I never decided that. I don't have a problem with Shamia. It's just that they was getting on my nerves when it came to the room. If I would have known in advance, I would have did something about it. And I just felt like they was being extra about it. So now Andy asked Shamia the status of her pregnancy. Because remember on the reunion, her and Gerald announced in their little season wrap-up, recap, and like checkup, that they was 3 months pregnant. And comes to find out that the baby came to almost the end of the first trimester, and then the surrogate miscarried. So I'm sorry to hear that, Shamia. That was the last male embryo. And I know you're devastated. I know Gerald is devastated, and I'm so sorry for that. But he then addresses what everyone was saying that was watching. The viewers all felt like Gerald was putting like pressure on her. And she said, no, he wasn't. That was me putting pressure on myself, And I wanted to do this. So he was like asking her, will she try again? She said, I don't know if I get another embryo. I don't know, or whatever. So Kay actually tells her some kind words or whatever and tells her, you're going to get through this. Don't worry. What meant to be is going to be, pretty much. So we leave off after that and we take a break. The ladies go to their dressing rooms for a break. We see Jarvis has showed up. Kelly is talking to Jarvis and, letting him know how Angela was coming for her. He said something about Angela wanting to join threesome or something like that. Angela's talking to Charles about Shamia and Kelly. They go back on stage now, and Angela announces, Andy asks us about the status of the fans. She has the new fans, the prototypes. Your wig won't get snatched in it. She got some for the girls. He asks her about he says at the end of he asked her if Charles gave her the half. She said he gave me everything I needed. My husband is very supportive. So now he says in the finale, it seems like you and Amari was, in a good place. Is it still there? She said yes, and we have the rest of our lives to keep loving on each other. It's getting better and better. So she's like, I want to set something straight, like, because it seemed like I was giving her such a hard time with it, but it wasn't that. It's the fact that her wife, Valeria, her family is not accepting of my daughter. I'm accepting of it, but when the mother comes to town, Amari gotta leave, whatever. So, that was the issue. And so then Andy asked her, why was it so important for the kids to know? And Angela realized the son was listening. She said, oh, they know. So Andy was like, so why was it so important to have that conversation? And she just said she felt like, they needed to have it as a family, that conversation. And then he addressed the fact that, we get a question first. Molly from Galveston, Texas asks Portia, she said, Portia has recently come out to the world about your sexuality. What are your thoughts on Angela's situation? Portia says, she's young. When it's somebody young, it's different, so I can see it from both sides, but it's harder when it's somebody young or whatever. So now, Andy addresses how the viewers thought, like, it was a lot of, talk online and Discord about how Angela wasn't accepting of Amari's sexuality. Angela explains, no, Amari came out to her when she was 12 years old, and they went and got some coming out cookies, okay? So she's always been accepting of it. And Portia says, one thing I will say is, out of everyone in this group, when I decided to come out, Angela has been very accepting and supportive of me. And Cynthia points out that when Angela first came to the group, they actually bonded over the fact that they both have daughters who are gay. Because remember, Noelle is gay as well. Or actually, I think Noelle is non-binary, actually, if I'm not mistaken. So now we get a question from Pinky Cole from Atlanta. Pinky's question is, Angela, where's your receipt for Pinky's wife in the basement? Can you prove it? Angela is like, listen, Pinky, it's no secret that it's been said that you play on the other side of the team. You swim in a lady pond or whatever. And I remember Phaedra said that in the episode. Phaedra said when she heard she was getting married to a man, she was surprised it was a man. When she was getting married, she was surprised it was a man. So Pinky is like, so where'd you hear? Angela was like, just like you heard Charles and this and that. Where you heard that from? Pinky was like, in the streets. And Angela was like, so there you have it, okay? It seemed like y'all all need to stay out them streets, okay? Because they up to no good. So now we get to Shamia's package. They show Shamia's package. Andy is like, Shamia, when I told you last reunion that you need to speak up and address things in a moment, boy, did you, take that and run with it. He's like, it seemed like you have an issue with everybody in the group or whatever. So she was like, I came in trying to take your advice, confront things, and speak how I feel. I didn't know. Like, I thought that last season when I was beefing with people, I was wrong, and I tried to come in with a different state of mind, and things just, went left. So we get a question from Marsha from Glendale. Shamia, you have beef with everyone on the cast. Like, what responsibility do you take for this situation? She says that, she tried to work it out with people when she came into the group. She tried to come at people, but how people respond, she has no control over that. She's going back and forth with Drew and Angela. Angela is accusing her of being in a picture of Junebug, and they showed on the screen that she was in a picture, not Junebug, the cousin, the guy that came in there saying that mess, tried that stunt on Angela last season. Shamia was in a picture of him, because Angela was like, you tried to say that. Angela was like, I thought we was cool, and then you said I set myself up. And Shamia was like, no, I was just saying your receipts wasn't receipting or whatever. And then that's when Angela was like, you was in a picture with him, so what's up with that? So they was going back and forth for a minute. Shamia was basically like, she was kind of trying to take ownership of her part in it, but at the same time, there was always a but, So now we get Angela's question from Angela Oakley. Shamia, looking back at this season, what was the biggest lie you told on camera that you thought nobody would catch? So she's like, not as much as you. Shamia was like, not as much as you. You lying about me sleeping with the Hawks and all this and everything. So Angela's like, well, you put a cease and desist on me, so I can't say. You told me to say it, but then you put in a cease and desist on me. So Shamia was like, for you to talk. So she's like, I thought a cease and desist meant to shut up. And Phaedra clarified that it's a cease and desist is telling you to stop doing something. And Shamia was like, or unless you come up with the name. So where the name's at, or give me my money. All right, pay up, sis. I ain't mad at that, okay? You gotta hit a bitch where it hurts in the pocketbook. So now Andy asks Drew about the whole horse. He was like, why did you act like you ain't know Trey was bringing you that horse? Here go Drew. Huh? What do you mean? Why are you saying that? Still acting like she ain't knew. She claimed her assistant gave him the address to where she was at. Girl, bye. He was dressed like you too, and the cowboy caught up. Girl, bye. So now he asked her if she ever gave Shamia the $2,200 for the horse shitting on the property. And she said no, she was embarrassed about it or whatever, and she ain't know, but she did apologize to Shamia. And Shamia said, that's all I really wanted was the apology. I know what she going through, and I went and, come at her. I just wanted the apology. So yeah, Drew did apologize for the horse shit on her property, okay? So now Andy asks Shamia, where does she see herself fitting in this group? And she's basically like, listen, I try my best to stay out of people's way, and I try to meet people where they at. There's things about Portia that, I never revealed nothing about Portia to Kelly. And Kelly was like, Portia's like, oh no, that's not true. She said, somebody I know that's friends with you told me they went out with you and another friend. They didn't specify Kelly, but they said that you was talking about me. Shamia's denying it, and Portia's saying, you been was talking about me, and Cynthia could speak to that. So apparently, Shamia said, I heard you was talking about me too. And now Shamia pulls out a text saying, oh, you said Portia wanted me on the show, but this is proving she didn't want me on the show. So she showed a text message that Portia was saying something about, oh, that's crazy that you gonna come on the show to come against me or whatever. I don't know. It didn't really prove that she didn't want her on the show, but that was her receipt. Portia was like, no, we was talking about, it was a party you was inviting me to, and you invited my ex. I know it said, meet me in Havana or something like that. Just get your ass here. So I don't know what it was all about. So that was her receipt. It didn't receipt to me. That's a receipt that didn't receipt to Shamia. So Portia is saying that Cynthia could attest to Shamia talking about her. And because it was even back in the days when Nia, Nene, Sheree, and the other girls would stay there, Candy and them. And Cynthia's like, well, I can't speak to them, but what I can say is a lot of those conversations were had. Shamia did say those things pretty much. So now we get into the package with Portia and Shamia, their friendship, how it started, and where they at now. So we do the package of the whole breakdown and disillusion of their friendship. So he asked them, have they seen each other since production wrap? No, they haven't. He asked them, how did their moms react to what they saw? Portia's like, I'm not going to talk about my mom. And Shamia said, I didn't show my mom the episode, but I definitely she knows, like, she's disappointed and she's sad about it. So he asked the ladies, he said the looks on your faces said it all, but how did y'all feel in that moment? They all was uncomfortable. Cynthia said, I've been on the show for a long time and a lot happened, but that was very uncomfortable. That went very low. So now Andy asked something about, like, the whole thing about the Pilar. He said this started from you asking her about keeping Pilar away from you about the daughters. So Portia shut it down, like, please don't talk about my daughter. Don't talk about my daughter. Because apparently Portia said to Shamia, she says to somebody, the only way Shamia get to see Pilar is when Dennis take her over there. So I don't know what that was about, but Portia shut that conversation down. She said, don't talk about Pilar. Don't talk about my mother. Please and thank you, okay? So now Andy says that Shamia, from what we saw, Portia advocated for you in Scotland when Angela was trying to make the accusations about you and George. Shamia says she ain't see no advocating. She saw everybody was quiet as normal. And Cynthia's like, no, she definitely did advocate for you. Now we get a question from Victoria from Warner Robins, Georgia. Portia and Shamia shared many of the same friends for years outside of the show. How was the breakdown of your friendship affected by those relationships? So pretty much, they same old, same old. I heard you been saying this about me. Portia basically made it clear that, based on things she heard, she not fucking with her. She said, she felt like actually coming into this season, she was gonna be indifferent until she felt something. She could see, and like, was it the glare she said in Shamia's eyes or something? Like, I could just see when she looks at me like that she still wants the friendship and misses the friendship. And I was like, I'm gonna just be indifferent and we'll see where it goes. I wasn't closed off to the fact. But after that dinner, when she said what she said, then I just felt like this is somebody who never was my friend and never did care and love me, and I don't want to go back to that. And Shamia said, you know what, I agree. When I look back at things that was said and done over the years, it made me look at things differently as well and want to take a step back. So at least they came to a place where they realized that we had what we had and it's over, okay? So now Andy ends the reunion by asking everyone if they can take one lesson away from looking back at the season, what would it be? Phaedra says pretty much, I'm going to just wrap it up. I'm not going to say everything they said, but Phaedra said pretty much we can go through what we go through and have what we have, but God can fix everything. Drew said she learned that there's perspective to everything. Don't just assume somebody crazy is something behind that. Pinky said she learned how to be around powerful people, and she loved all of these women and respect and look up to all of them. Angela said the lesson she could take away is to let things go that need to be let go, whether it be things that's being said about her or friendships that aren't reciprocated. Shamia said she want to learn to lead with loving hearts and to learn to forgive. Cynthia says to meet people wherever they are. And on that note, her and Shamia have a moment where they hug. And Shamia said, thank you for being my mentor last season or whatever. So they hug. And while Shamia over there, she said, while I'm at it, she also hugs Angela, Drew, and Phaedra. She hugs everybody on that couch except for Portia. All right? So Kelly's is, you don't stay down long. I went through what I went through, but I still showed up with my shoulders up. So you don't stay down long. The best is yet to come. K. Michelle says, don't live tweet and don't expect the worst. Okay? Learn that maybe the best is yet to come. Portia's was fun, and I felt like this group of females is the new group that's going to lead this Atlanta into the next era, and we got everything we need, all the ingredients we need in this sauce right here. So Andy said, I must say, I had fun in this reunion like we did back in the day, and it was like, all right, we're back. And I agree, Atlanta is back. So they end the reunion with the guy coming out playing the bagpipe like in Scotland. And that's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. This reunion is over. Season 17 is in the books, and I must say it was a successful season. I already gave the season an 8, but I'm going to go ahead and give the reunion a solid 8 as well. The reunion was an 8. It was a solid reunion. Good season, ladies. I definitely enjoyed it, and I'm waiting for season 18 to see what y'all got. I don't mind if everyone comes back. I'm fine with that. And keep it coming. All right, guys, so that's the end of Atlanta. If you like this video, hit the like and subscribe buttons and join the conversation down in the comments below. Also, make sure you hit that notification bell because I'm about to drop my recap for Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, and you don't want to miss that, all right? Also, if you're into Big Brother, I'm recapping Big Brother 28. Get into that, all right? All right, guys, today is Tuesday, August 25th, and I hope you guys all have a great week. That's the end of Atlanta. It's in the books. See you next season for that, guys. Meet me in Beverly Hills for Ultimate Girls Trip a little later.